when you come to this chapter, chapter 5, this is about transacting insurance. So, and that's called, all of these are insurance. This also require you to have a license. All of this thing here require a license.
Right, because you're making a transaction.
Yeah, require a license. If you're doing this solicitation, inducing some to purchase, that's an insurance transaction, and that's also require license. Because in the exam, they can say all of the following require license except, or they might say which of the following require license. If you're doing negotiation, you need a license. If you're taking the app, but then may not put that in the exam. Okay. If effectuation of a contract of insurance where you issue or deliver the policy, you need a license. If you did a transaction or subsequent transaction of the contract, also if you advise them about this claim, you need a license. So all of this thing require a license and they're considered to be transaction. Because they might say which of the following is an insurance transaction, they can put any of those. They can say which all of the following are insurance transaction except. So there's 4 different ways they can answer this question in the exam.
Okay.
So make sure you know that.
Okay.
Domestic.
Domestic is in the state.
Foreign.
Foreign is out of the country. No. Different state.
And
And
all US territories.
on like
Like,
Puerto Rico.
yeah, Puerto Rico, like US Virgin
Or
Island,
Hawaii.
Guam, things like that. Alien.
That's an entire different country.
Good. So somebody in the state of, I mean, in the United States, and they do business in Canada. So in Canada, they become alien. Or if they do in Mexico, alien. But New Mexico, foreign. Okay. So if they do like Maryland, Washington, D.C., foreign.
Foreign.
Okay. All right. So there's 20 questions that count on the exam. That count. So you might find some here, 2 here. So it might be 2 right there. If you get this, you amount that 2 question right quick. Could find. I don't know what they're gonna do. There's different thing in the exam. Possibility you can do about stock and share. You have to know what that is. They're owned by the stockholders. Check. The stockholders have voting rights. That's when they can vote for the board of directors. They sell non-par policy or par policy. And they pay dividend, is a share of profit, and that dividend is taxable. Because dividend from a stock and share is taxable to the investor.
Right, anything that accumulates interest.
Now that dividend really is not is a dividend, is not really an interest, but it's like they call it a dividend. But plus if we make interest, you're gonna also pay taxes on interest and the dividend on this one. Now this one is the one that pay no taxes on the dividend, because that dividend is not taxable. Check.
Okay.
And they sell only participating. So that's when you have to become a policy owner to get what? The dividend. Now the policy owner have the voting right now instead of the shareholders, stockholders that was here. Because if you don't see stockholders, they can also put shareholders. I mean the same thing.
Wait, so only the policy owner can get the dividends, not the beneficiary?
No, only the policy owner can get it.
Okay.
Who own the policy? Whoever is the policy owner is that own it, so they get the dividend. Okay, so the difference between those two, who owns them? This one owned by the stockholders, and this one owned by the policy owner. That's the difference between those two. Both of them issue policies. They may not put that in the exam. They might put par, or they just put the whole word. I mean, non-participating. They might put the whole thing, non-participating. But if you just see non-part, that's what that means. Non-participating means they don't have to buy policy to get the dividend. That's what that means.
Okay.
Okay. Participating here is mean in order for you to get that dividend, you have to become a policy owner. That's when you have to buy what? A policy, then you get what? The dividend is not taxable. Why? Because it's return of premium, unused premium. Because it was their money, they just return it to them as a dividend to make them feel good.
Okay.
All right. That's another one. They say fraternal insurance or benefit society. Now this one is operate for as a corporation or society or association. But the keyword you want to know here is this one. They may not own the policy, but it's provide the benefits for the members. So if you're not a member, you can't get it. If you're not part of the organization, you can't get the coverage. It's for non-profit, like a little system, ritualistic system, elected form of government. Like you find a United Way can be there. You find this type of organization can be there. And it's for the members. And they do is just almost like a group insurance. Okay?
Okay.
In order for a company to do business in any state or country, they need that.
Certificate of authority, yes.
Yes, it's issued by the insurance regulation because that's paper. When a company get the certificate of authority, that's mean they are authorized. Meaning they get the license, that's when they're admitted, or they put certified. But on the exam, I will not put certified.
Authorized or admitted.
Yeah, because if you find all those words into them, they may not. Because unless this is not there, this is not there, not there, and then maybe that's all there, maybe I might take it. But other than that, I'm not gonna pick that. I will rather go find for something like this or something like that. Otherwise, or admitted. And it mean that. Okay? If it is unauthorized, that's mean they're non-admitted. That's mean they are
unadmitted, non-admitted.
Yep. So there is no certificate of authority. Now, can you sell for unauthorized company in a state?
In a different state?
Yeah, even in this state. If the company is unauthorized, would you sell for it? Can you?
No,
the answer is yes. As long as there is no authorized company in that state. As long as no other authorized company in that state. So pretty much they're telling you no, really. But they give you like, it'd be rare for you not to find any authorized company. You get that?
Yes.
And if you sell for one of them that's unauthorized, you have to make sure any claim that don't get paid, you are responsible for it too, because you're representing that company. So they can go after the person that sell it. Not just the company who's in selling also the agent who's selling it. So know that. And the test question, if they ask something where if it is not otherwise, yes, you can, but that's the only exception. If there's none, because they don't want people to die because there's no otherwise company now. How do you know? Maybe the company is not otherwise, but it's a great company. So we're not gonna say you're not gonna do it, but we will prefer you do business with people that otherwise. But it's not a concrete say, oh, you can't. Make sense?
Yes.
They can trick you on that.
Yeah, that is confusing.
Yeah, they should say no, you can't at all, but they tripping. They really tripping in that exam. Okay. Admitted, authorized insurer. That's when they are licensed, they're authorized to transact business in Florida. They get a certificate of authority. That's just that it mean.
Okay.
Question.
No.
And if they not admitted, unauthorized, they do not come under the jurisdiction of the chief financial officer or the office of insurance regulation with regard to they don't have no examination done to its financial soundness. They don't know if they're good. The examination, they don't have any approval of coverage offered, advertising to the mail, because you might find company that do that. If you ever get to the mail, you check, you say that you can get this $500,000 for $8 a month. If you took in the mail, you might find something like that in there. To the mail. So now they don't have to be authorized because they just do it what they advertise it through the mail.
Yeah.
And if you buy it, they don't have to be
'Cause
authorized.
they're not soliciting or negotiating or
Correct.
anything.
Okay. So you see, that's what happened. Now, if found guilty of aiding or abetting non-otherwise insurer, it is a third-degree felony. The liability of all unpaid claim, suspension, revocation of your license. That's one of the warning they give you. Hey, if you do it and something goes wrong, this is what we're gonna do to you.
So it's a third-degree felony to do any of those if you're not authorized.
Yep, that's what it says. So that's mean they say that I'm not saying you're not gonna do it, but if you do it, I'm just letting you know if we catch you, it's wrong. So here's what we're gonna do to you. So don't do it. Don't get us coming after you.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next thing is because I see that's where this chapter you have a little bit need more help. Reinsurance is there to put the purpose of reinsurance. Make sure you know that is to protect insurance company against catastrophic losses. Insurance between insurers. So this is an insurance company buying insurance into another insurance company. So this is insurer to insurer. So it's a company that go insure themselves into another insurer. That's called reinsurance. You get that? So when that happens, you're gonna find a company called ceding. They're the one that's searching to get protection. And the one that gave the coverage to the new one that's sitting, it becomes the assuming because you assume the risk.
Okay.
That's what you need to know.
Originating company is ceding. The new the reinsurer is assuming.
Yep, you assume the risk.
Okay.
Because imagine if somebody, one person say, I want to get $1 trillion into your company. 1 trillion is a lot of money. So if one person die, I'm going to pay 1 trillion and this company only value at let's say $5 billion. So what happened? Are you trying to go bankruptcy? Is that what you're trying to do? Because we don't even have $1 trillion. Now you want asking us for $1 trillion. So to avoid this catastrophic losses happen, so they do it through reinsurance. So they might find maybe a bunch of other companies to put that through, and then when that person die, and all the money don't come in one company. So it doesn't go bankrupt. That's why they do the reinsurance. You get that?
Yes.
Good. If you come to your exam, get it tomorrow for me.
Okay. I will try my hardest.
Okay? No, you're gonna pass it tomorrow. We're gonna make sure we want to make sure you pass it tomorrow, my friend.
Yes.
Okay. So next one is what we call who administer insurance law in Florida. Is the Department of Financial Services, or they simply can call department, or they can say DFS, Department of Financial Services, or they can just put the department.
Okay.
And we find inside of it there's a chief financial officers, and we find also Financial Services Commission. Inside of it there's 2 offices. This is dealing with all the papers. And this is dealing with all the money. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. It was my coach calling.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so anything dealing with paper go to this office. Anything dealing with money, it goes this. So now, if it goes down, we're gonna go explain to this because I think some people find it out of question and there's 2 for whatever reason. I don't know why, but whatever. Okay. The Financial Services Commission compose the governor, which means one DeSantis is part of that, and the chief financial officer called Jim whatever his name is, and the attorney general and the commissioner of agriculture. That's what make up the financial commission. The director of the commission is the head of the both of this branch office I just explained to you earlier. The Office Financial Regulation and the Office of Insurance Regulation.
Okay, so the commissioner would be head of office. What's it called?
The
Office of
Office
Financial
Financial
Regulation.
Regulation and Office of Insurance Regulation.
Okay.
And this is right here. RIR, which is this one.
Okay.
Office of Insurance Regulation. Specifically regulates what? Business of what?
Insurance.
Insurance, not banks.
No.
They're responsible for licensing, certificate of authority, rates. See, that's all paper. Policy forms, premium financing, that's still form. Claims, form. Solvency, paper. Vertical settlement, paper. Administrative supervision, paper. Market conducts, claims, paper. Certificates of authority, solvency. I don't know, some of those like they're redundant. You get that?
Yes.
Now, the other one, the OFR, Office of Financial Regulation, is responsible for all activities of Financial Services Commission related to what? Banks, credit unions. Even though you can find a bank selling insurance, now because they're selling bulk, they're also a bank and they're selling insurance. Now, both of the office going to regulate them. I would not be shocked if that happened. Because you're dealing with people's money and also you're selling insurance.
Right.
So we're going to have to regulate you for both then. Unless you're just a bank. You're just dealing with people's money. Also, financial institutions, such as the finances company, the people that give you the loan, the mortgage companies, also the security industry. That's all dealing with what? Moolah.
Yep. So basically, The insurance regulation deals with anything pertaining to insurance as long as it doesn't involve finances. That
Yep.
would be
Yep.
Office of Financial Regulation.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So you get that?
Yes. Those
So,
two, yeah, those two are pretty clear to me. I don't
okay.
have anything with those. It's mainly the like the commissioner. I have to remember that.
Okay. So that's that. Let me see if there's anything. Those are two they can ask you. Um, Also, you need to know the overview of the chief financial officer, independently elected. Is a member of the governing cabinet, that person. So he's inside one DeSantis office. And he's also the head of the Department of Financial Services. It's a member of the Financial Services Commission. He's also see all the 15 division. This guy is pretty powerful. Good luck. This guy's making some money too. Is they
Mm-hmm.
he get elected for 4 years, I believe.
Kind of like the president.
Okay, what is the authority they're giving them? They can issue what? Subpoenas, administer oath. They can examine witnesses when an investigation of any person or claims. The cost will be charged against the subpoenaing person, the person they're gonna bring to that, pay the examination, the fee. Failure to comply with any other will be contempt in court. So that's when they can bring you to court.
Mm.
The Department of Financial Services, what is the purpose? They're there to enforce the provision of insurance code, to execute duty and impose the code by the code. To execute the duty imposed by the code. So they're gonna make them respect the code.
Okay.
Some of the power and duty they have, they can conduct investigation. They can collect and publish information relating to duty and imposed by law.
Okay.
They can employ actuaries and employee of the CFOs. They can also adopt rules to implement provision of the law. So the agents and the adjuster licensing also in the investigation, they can do all that. They also may issue cease and desist order. And also they can charge fine or fees. They also may suspend or revoke somebody's license or certificate of authority. And they can also may hold hearing of anyone for any purpose, any reason. So those guys, they're pretty powerful people.
Okay.
So in the Office of Insurance Regulation, this is the areas of regulation. They are organizing and licensing companies, which is they give them certificate of authority, policying against unauthorized and insurance activity. So they make sure they do that as well to make sure everybody licensed. Regulation of activities, including forms and rates, supervising and method in obtaining businesses, including licensing, and control unfair trade practice of advertising. They are also monitoring financial condition of the insurer to make sure they can remain solvent too. And they can ask them to leave, liquidate, because you're not doing a good job.
Okay.
What is some of the market conduct and examination? Also, the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, and the Office of Insurance Regulation have the right to examine insurance books and records every 5 years. Or they can come more often.
More often, but it has to be at least every 5 years.
At least every 5 years. But if they feel like they need to come back earlier, they will come back. Guess who's gonna pay for it? The insurance company. So don't make me come as often, because the more I come, the more money it costs you. Because I'm sitting in my beautiful office in Tallahassee. I'm good there. So please don't make me come.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to give you a trip for 5 years. Do your job. Do it right. That's what they're saying. They're saying.
Okay.
The cost of examination is the responsibility of who? The insurance company. what we call the principal, being examined. Any individual who willfully obstruct an investigation is guilty of a misdemeanor. So those guys don't play. Cease and desist order. A cease and desist order is just like this. They feel like you're about to violate something. They say, hey, stop doing what you're doing, because if you continue doing it, I'm going to fine you. I'm going to give you a penalty if you don't listen. And they can charge you up to $50,000. They can suspend revocation or license or certificate of authority, because they say, hey, I smell the fire. I don't see the fire, but I smell it. So if I was you, I'll just find that fire and cut it off. Put some water on it so you don't get more, because if you get more, I'm going to come here and then deal with you. So cease and desist order. If they're saying you this cease and desist order, so you don't think it's accurate, then you can call them for, you can request a hearing. Okay. Agency administrative action. So the office must take into account the financial resources, good faith, gravity, and violation, and history of the previous violation. Policy approval form, and this is also something you might need to know. Now, they don't really approve them. The Office of Insurance has the authority to approve all form prior to use. Now, they're not gonna tell you, let's say if your job as the insurance company is to file the forms in 30 days in advance before you use them. 30 days advance. After the 30 days pass, the form will deem approved unless disapproved by the Insurance Office of Insurance Regulation. So what does that mean? When you file the form, they won't tell you it's approved. The way you're gonna know it's approved after 30 days if you don't get it disapproved. So be careful. Okay. So if something say they approve the form, not really just that. They don't just approve the form. They approve them technically and directly. They don't just say, oh, your form is great. Oh, they already do all the research on it. So that's mean if something goes wrong still on it, pretty much just say, hey, yeah, I just tell you you can use that form. So now I didn't go tell that the form is like so accurate, everything was perfect. Okay, they didn't go to all that. Okay. Person to require to have a license. If you're receiving commission, you must have a license.
Yep.
If you're doing administrative work, you don't need a license. So the Florida require any individual who solicit, the word solicit mean is a big word.
Yep.
That's an indication you need a license. The scope of licensing. No agent shall transact business of any line in which they do not have a license. So if you don't have a license or appointed, you have to have an appointment from that authorized insurance company. If not, you should not market that products. Licensing type. Agent is a person who authorized to represent the insurance company or a fraternal benefit society or an HMO to solicit, negotiate, obtaining insurance or annuity contract. The agent represent who? The insurance company, not the insured. Make sure you know that. Okay. So as agent, we represent the insurance company, the insurer, not the insured. This is the client. Okay. Include general line, license, life agent, health agent, tallow agent. Now, you could also be tested on what we call an agency licenses. A business located at which an individual, firm, partnership, corporation, association, or other legal entity must obtain an insurance agency license prior to transacting business. The licensing will be issued for a period of 3 years. So I guess mine's for 2 years. I have one at the office, whatever. I didn't know. I just see they sent it to me, but whatever. So you can have an agency license for 2 years. You get that?
Yes.
What about license qualification? You must be 18 years old, of course, but to buy policy, 15. But to get licensed, 18. You have to be a US citizen or legal otherwise to work in Florida. You have to be a resident of Florida. You're not employed by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs or the state service office. And also you're not a funeral director, except for pre-need contract. I don't know what that is, but not no more than $12,000. I don't know what that is. So whatever that thing is.
Okay.
If it's somebody that maybe those are the one that's selling the cemetery, or maybe they're selling the contract, whatever. Maybe that's those guys. Who knows? But if you are the funeral director, unfortunately, you can't be on this thing. They won't give you a license.
Okay. I
Because
mean, it makes sense.
yeah, you don't want to go start killing people because you get a
Yeah.
license. You can, conflict of interest. Okay, you got to come to the pre-licensing class, 40 hours, okay?
Mhm.
And you got to pass the exam, which is you're going to do.
Okay.
The license exam may not be taken no more than 5 times in 12 months. And you have to pay the acquire fee. So you have five times you can take the exam.
Up to 5 times, okay.
In 12 months. So you start in January. So you have 5 times from January next year to take it. So January, your 5 times start over again.
Oh, okay. So in January, I could take it again 5
Yep.
times.
5 more times, yep.
Okay.
Okay. Can I transfer my license? Of course, if you are in good standing, you can transfer to another state as long as it's active. At least for 1 year prior you relocate.
Okay.
But you have to become a resident in that other state. And you have to pay the appropriate fee, and you have to be at least for 90 days. Within 90 days, you have to do that. And you have to, some of them might require you to submit fingerprints. That's how they're gonna check your background to make sure you're still good. It's not because you're killing a few people in Florida and you move up there, so you know what, since it's a different state, I'm good. Okay, we're gonna go after you. Qualified applicant. Is an applicant for a license must be qualified to acknowledge experience or instruction of a business of insurance. So they want the person to be qualified to be a qualified applicant. So you have to complete the pre-licensing class. I told you that is 40 hours in a single life. If it is both life and health, it's gonna be 60 hours for both. And you have to holding an active license in any other state. Holding an active license in another state. Employment by the department for at least 1 year, full-time in at least in life or health insurance regulatory. So this probably like where you can skip that pre-licensing class, but some of the time it's not. Military service. If you're in the military, all right, in the military must maintain record at the location accessible to the public. That's not located in any military installation. So if they need that information, they can get it. Agent are not allowed to sell insurance to another active duty military person or their family if the buyer or the proposed insured is into a lower rank or a pay grade, because they don't want you to do that. They don't know if you're not gonna shoot them and you're collecting. I can see why they say don't do that. Right?
Yes.
Temporary license is good for 6 months.
6 months.
And they're only gonna issue only one temporary license. After that, you go get your permanent license. Woohoo! Non-resident is people that have a license in the state of Florida and they want to get that license up in another state. Now, if a person meets all of the requirements, a Florida license may be issued, and that person is in the state provided the same privilege called reciprocity. So if you go get a license in Georgia and they allow you to get one, just like the people in Georgia can get one in Florida, that's called reciprocity. So you allow my people to get license in your state, I allow your people to get license in my state, vice versa. That's called a non-resident license. You don't have to do tests again, but you got to apply and pay fees. Who exempt from taking that? Officers, they don't need license, directors, employees of the insurance provider that do not receive what? Any commission. Person providing technical advice or analysis or assistant, my bad. And also administrative services. Maybe employee engaged in inspecting, rating, classification of risks of the training procedure. So those people good. They're exempt from taking that exam. Activity limited to advertising without any intent of solicit. So if you're just doing the advertising or you distribute the advertising, you don't have to intend to take any application or sell, so you're good. But if you're gonna get any commission on that, the whole will change. Background check. Of course, you have to get background check. You have to submit fingerprint and pay the appropriate fine, which is the fee. So you have to set a fingerprint. How do you keep your license? Continuation, you have to do that every 2 years. In Florida, there's 24 hours you have to do to renew your license. So now this information is incorrect. It's no longer that. It's 4 hours. 4 hours update course is required. So again, it's 4 hours. Including an update course and ethics, disciplinary needs, and make sure you know that. Okay, 4 hours in that 24 hours. Okay. Also, agents who have been licensed for more than 6 years, just so you know, they only have to do 20 hours. But in that 20 hours, they still have to do the 4 hours
of ethics. Yep.
Yep. And still have to do it in 2 years. So you say 5 hours here, but it's 4. If you do excess hours, you're gonna carry over to the next period. And if for whatever reason, if you get sick, you cannot do it, you have to get an extension for at least 1 year. But you have to be a good cause, not because you went to a vacation and it was too long. That's your problem. You're enjoying yourself, so that's your problem. You should know you were going to vacation, do your CE first. All right, non-resident license. If you have a non-resident license, if they accept the Florida CE requirement, you don't have to do it in that other state. Because the one you do for Florida give you a check mark into the other state. You got it?
Yes.
Good. Reporting. So they say you have to report 30 days to report to notify. You, the agent, have to do that, not your company, you.
Correct.
To the financial services, if you change your name, your address, your business address, telephone number, and your email address. Not because you're married with so-and-so. We don't care about that. That's your problem. It was good for you. Okay. Also 30 days. If you got charged by a felony, you're guilty. Or you plead guilty. No contender. Or no contest. Or they put you in jail for this a year. Your job is to let them know. Don't call me and say, hey, Ernest, can you report that for me? Unfortunately, I can't do that for you. You're the one that's responsible to do that. I'm sorry. 30 days to do that. Okay. Good. Let's move in along. Do you have question anything?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Appointments. It simply means an authorization to do business on behalf of that company. They authorize you to do business, to sell. So they give you permission. That's what an appointments mean. So you might be properly appointed by an insurer to transact insurance business. Because after you pass that test, they just say, hey, you passed your exam. Now go sell life insurance. For who? Who gonna pay those claims after you sell them? So you need a company. That's why they need that. To authorize you to sell on their behalf. Because your action become their action. So you don't just wake up after you pass, say, hey, I'm good. Okay, appointments mean an authorized authority given to an insurer, given by an insurer to an employee to deny insurance business or to address claim on the behalf of the insurer or the employer. So agent must have an appointment for at least how long? 4 years. If you don't have, after 4 years you don't have an appointment, what happens with your license? It will expire. No more license. You have to do everything all over. Unless you got to make sure you do your CE. Can you hold more than one appointments? Yes. You can hold more than one appointment, but as long as you have one for each company. So if you are for company A selling life insurance, company B selling life insurance, company C selling health insurance, you need 3 appointments. Okay. What happened if you have another company, you add one more. Company D selling health insurance. Company E selling health insurance. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need 5 appointments now. Simple as that. That's what that means. So you can represent more than one. And your appointment is not transferable. So then I go, oh, since I do have it here, can I just transfer it to you? No, unfortunately, you need a new one. Okay? I lost you, my friend. You good? You sleeping on me?
No, I mean kind of, but I'm listening though.
Okay. Now, how do you renew your license or your appointments? Do your CE.
Correct.
So an agent appointment remain in effect until they revoked it, suspended, or terminated. An appointing entity may terminate an appointment at any time 60 days prior. And once you got terminated, they're going to notify the company, the department, hey, Sharon is no longer with me. So her action is not mine no more. Sharon and I, we divorced. We're no longer in business together. So if she did something wrong, I'm not responsible. Okay? You got it, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay. What about unaffiliate? So an agent may act as an independent consultant of a business of analyzing policies, providing insurance advice or counseling by making recommendations to companies and policy for a fee. Established or within the contract signed by the party. This is called unaffiliated agent appointments. So I don't know if this is in your test, I don't know. So I ain't gonna waste too much time on this.
Yeah, those I'm pretty good at.
Now
Those are right there are the ones that kind
this
of
one,
struggle with.
what about this one?
The unlawful rebating.
Yeah, twisting.
Unlawful rebating would be twisting. Unlawful rebating would be like kind of like telling them, oh, if you buy this insurance, I will trade you my car or something like that.
Correct.
Right?
Yep,
Okay.
that's that because rebating, those can cause you to terminate if you don't do it the right way. It's not illegal, but technically kind of illegal, but there's rules and you have to follow if you're doing rebating. Twisting is illegal. It's when you make somebody turn their policy into another company is not in the best interest. Misrepresentation is a statement that's a lie about the policy or the benefits. Excessive control business, it cannot excess 50%, and you need to know that in 12 months. So your control business cannot exceed that. Okay? Fraud can cause you to terminate your license. If you're violating rule of the CFOs, any of that can get you violating that. Okay? If you're convicted of a felony, if you're doing sliding, adding coverage, adding things that without the client consent, don't know about it, or you're selling unregistered security, you're representing unauthorized insurance company, that can get all this thing can get you in trouble. Oh, fiduciary could be tested as well. You have to, fiduciary is when someone is in position of a trust. I'm sorry?
They basically handle like money.
Yeah, handling money. And you cannot commingle. You cannot mix the money.
Correct.
Commission. Commission is the money that you receive based on the policy that you sell. Can you share commission? Yes, you can with another licensed agent.
Can we finish off here and continue tomorrow? I have to finish submitting that assignment by 11:45.
Okay. So you can go ahead and do that. Just remember, with we get right here, I would explain you the control business. Okay, the control business, I would explain that to you, which is you cannot
Page
exceed the
48.
50%. So we can get to record keeping from here. And tomorrow we can start from here. Let me just put a note on that. So tomorrow we can come in this one.
Okay.
Okay, then after that you can take the quiz. Then just we can do a little bit about chapter 6 and take the quiz,
Mm-hmm.
and it should be good to go.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna finish